This is Blues with Southern Blues Gaming. And come watch a video with me real quick.
Tonight, News Channel 5 investigates, uncovers disturbing new information about the man arrested Saturday at Nashville's No Kings protest. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Krause. It turns out that man there to protest the protest has a long fascination with Nazis and mass murders. And now we've learned that he was already on the FBI's radar. Our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, has spent hours digging through this man's online profile. And Phil, this doesn't sound like an ordinary counter-protester.
Yeah, far from it. I was on the ground Saturday, and protesters kept telling me about this man dressed all in black with a "Don't Tread on Me" flag and a gun on his hip. If they had known what I've since discovered, they might have been even more concerned. Saturday's No Kings protest in downtown Nashville was a peaceful event, drawing thousands and thousands of people upset with the direction of the country. The only
That is true. Like this news, company is showing it, but a lot of like mainstream media, like CNN, MSNBC, all the the liberal channels, barely any word on this. Just food for thought. Food for thought. Continue.
Heck up the arrest of a 19-year-old Murfreesboro man for disorderly conduct after a confrontation with protesters. The arrest warrant says Elijah Miller brandished a weapon during that confrontation. According to a witness, no one was directly pointed at, but he was spitting at people. People started yelling at him, and he pulled it out and stated he had a gun. For much of that time, Miller was live streaming, declaring on X that he was going to be, quote, counter-protesting these commies.
Commie scum! No commie scum in America, mother.
Soon, he was in a sharp exchange with a No Kings protester who challenged him to show his face.
You are such a coward. Such a coward. Your mask off, you little man.
No, I'm not.
Little dictator.
No, I'm not. Be high.
You're so scary.
So who is Elijah Miller? In 2023, a post from Murfreesboro police showed he had been reported missing by his family. At the time, he was described as autistic but highly functioning. A photo shared by a friend shows the moment he was taken into custody in Ohio, charged with possessing a weapon while under disability.
Be high, man. Oh, yeah. Be high, yeah.
Yet there he was among the No Kings protesters with a semi-automatic pistol strapped to his hip. On his cap, he wore a dark Enlightenment patch linked to a theory that calls for ending democracy. His social media shows a fascination with Nazi imagery as well as mass murderers. For example, a horrific mass murder in Norway that left 77 people dead, including children at a youth camp. Miller expressed admiration for the neo-Nazi who carried out the killings, calling the victims 77 race traitors.
A white supremacist engaged in an act of terrorism.
He also expressed admiration for the killer behind a mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Another person said he, quote, was just trying to help the blacks get their numbers up and help them get a food desert, which made the killer a hero. Miller responded, indeed. And he was especially fond of the person who murdered 51 Muslims at Christchurch, New Zealand, seeming to imitate the shooter's style when he posted his, quote, scribbles on a new shotgun. Among them, this inscription, "This machine kills commies." Someone responded, "Drop your Twitch," meaning a live stream video. "We will be watching." Miller answered, "Need to get a helmet and GoPro first."
Communist scum, mother.
Among his other posts, Miller declared last July, "No more running from me, Reapers calling my name." In December, he posted, "Things are about to happen." The photo included a handgun and the book,
Well, hello. So, let's stop it right there. A lot was said about this very kind individual. But this brings up something I've been wanting to talk about for a hot minute. Now, I'm sure you guys noticed in the video a lot of his PFP hello, Pippa. Hello, Kirsche. What's that? You guys, cultivating that right wing, fan group led to something like this? Wow. I can't believe that happened. Marvel of Marvels. I cannot believe this. Now, I've kind of talked about like how, there's a lot of racism in the VTubing community and how annoying as fuck that is. But but the reason I showed this video is because I wanted to talk about something else. So I've always said that YouTube, like as a channel as a whole, tends to slant like right-wing MAGA shit. I've said that for ages because you can't you're like literally sleeping on a YouTube video away, like one sleep cycle to like waking up to seeing like fucking Asmongold and all that shit. Like you're close to seeing Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk and all that bullshit. You're like 3 videos away from that. But one thing that people don't want to acknowledge is that while VTubing is great, and it's given people who are afraid of streaming, or showing their face and blasting their everything out there, it's been a great boon, I feel, because I'm someone that doesn't like showing their face everywhere. My voice, I don't care, but my face, I very much care. And it's given people that could never, that goes, I could never do that. It's giving them a tool to go, wait, I can do this and I'm actually really fucking good at this. Downside, and you can say this about social media as a whole, it's opened the door to a lot of shitty fucking people. And I've talked about the VTuber Kirsche, or as the fans call her, KK Kirsche. And I briefly talked about Pippa as well. And we saw on his gun that, he had like Pippa's name and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna be the person to go, oh well, VTubing, leads to violence, or like, and I'm not even gonna touch on the autism thing because, hey, I have Asperger's. I know that we hyper focus and like we can go into like deep dives, and sometimes we fall down the wrong path. I get that. So like, he's still a shit human being. But I want to talk about how VTubers like these are able, like, cultivate, like, with their little, how do I explain this without sounding like a dick? Okay. This is how I'll say it. I actually watched Pippa back in the day. I didn't watch Kirsche because her reputation preceded her, but I used to watch Pippa. And on one of the streams that I watched her, she was very like wink wink nudge nudge with like, racist dog whistles and like homophobic shit, transphobic shit. It was very like dog whistly. Like my cat could hear that shit. That's how strong that whistle was. And I know that recently she's really trying to put try to, curb all that shit. But my problem is that you cultivated an audience in those dog whistles. Like, right-wing VTubers, like, VTubing has given a voice to a lot of good people, but it's also given a voice to a lot of shit people that will fucking just outright say the most outlandish shit and not get caught. Like, there was a subject I wanted to talk about, Twisty, and I feel like that's gonna take like hours to like comb through, because Then you have to get into Niji Sanji. Then you have to get into, Aster. You have to get into all of that. And for a person like me that like does these videos like off the top of the dome, so I don't have like a script or anything like that, too much. Too much. I might just do like a reaction video or something about those. But Twisty is another example where you can't sit there after years of doing dirt, of having all the dog whistles, all and then all this, right-wing shit, and then try to stamp it out, but not, talk to your audience about why you're stamping it out, because your audience is drawn to that. They're seeing a cute little YouTuber girl talking about, race replacement, theory or whatever the fuck it's called. And I think it's like the great replacement theory or something like that. And then turn around and go, fuck that stuff. Like, you cultivated people like the shooter with your ideologies. And I know, like, she'll probably be like, oh yeah, I never meant to do that. But you did. All these right-wing VTubers, they know what they're doing and saying. And like, people my age, because I'm like, what? Very, very early 30s, just turned. Like, we can hear dog whistles and either go, oh no, this person's shit, or they go, oh, they think like I think. And then there you go. Now you're that, And I want to talk about that, and kind of like the crux of my conversation of what I'm trying to say is this. You bring, like, your content, brings, like, if you're like a cool streamer, cool people are going to flock to you. But if you're a piece of shit streamer who, is a hateful, bigot, edgy 4chaner, that's who you're going to attract. And you're going to attract people like this. And I feel like you have to take some responsibility for that. Like, you have to take some responsibility in what you've cultivated, the audience that you've cultivated. So that's pretty much what I want to say. Like, you have to take responsibility. And if you don't, and if you try to be like, oh, I never meant it, bullshit, you did mean it. You did mean it. You really, really did mean it. So the question is, what do you do now? Like I'll give you a prime example. iDubbbz. Like, when I was younger, like, all right, so before I start, look at the color of my skin here. Voila. Okay? So you know who I am. Listen to my voice, you know what I am. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm proud of it. I'm black. That's who I am. iDubbbz spent the majority of my youth cultivating his audience of just white boys and white people who understand that saying the N-word and other type of slurs, and still did it, and gave them permission to spout that hateful shit and then go, oh, I'm just joking. At least in iDubbbz's case, he seems generally more remorseful, and even then, I don't believe it. And he got backlash from his chud ass audience because of it. Like, you have fucking Moist Critical up there talking about, oh yeah, you don't need to apologize for that. No, fuck you. That's not your decision to make. He actively caused chaos to a lot of black people. And he gave white people carte blanche to say the N-word and all the slurs that they can take, that they can say, and try to pass it off as an edgy joke. Fuck you. Your audience is who you are. If you cultivate an audience of hateful people, like if you're a hateful person and you cultivate that, like there's no escaping that. You can hide behind as many, avatars that you want. At the end of the day, if you don't change the core of who you are as a person, it'll always flock to you. And then your name is going to be attached to shit like this. And it sucks because I'm not the type to go, oh yeah, VTubers cause violence, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the rhetoric that a lot of VTubers say, especially right-wing VTubers, are adding to these people's insanity. That's what I'm saying. And there has to be some sort of responsibility for them to say, like if people came out and said, you know what, I did say a lot of like racist shit in my past, and I could see how all of the things that I said cultivated my fan base that are deeply unwell and love that stuff. I disavow that, and I disavow them, and I want to give a heartfelt apology to the people that my words have hurt and that have caused hurt. Like if she came out with a statement like that, and I don't mean a fucking Google Doc statement. I mean like avatar on camera saying those words so people can hear the sincerity. Then you can, because we all know Kirsche is never going to apologize. She's fucking unhinged. Like if I bring up Twisty's apology, and if I bring up Twisty's like comment that she made, or Delulu as she calls herself, no, like there's so much I need to talk about. I need to talk about that at some point. But I feel like if you're a hateful person, you're going to bring hateful people, and eventually you're going to be put in a situation like this. We have some fucking maniac, putting your name out there and, on their pew-pewer, and having your stuff plastered on this. Like, is this the legacy that you want to leave behind, Pippa? Is this a legacy any right-wing VTuber want to, any VTuber in general that even does those nudge, nudge, wink, wink, dog whistle, type edgy jokes? Is this the legacy you want to leave behind? Is this really the legacy that you want to, like, is this the legacy you want to leave? Because I feel like it's so easy for people to be hateful and to do hateful things. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to admit to yourself, no, I am, I did this. I cultivated this. I created, this bubble where my fans could actively be harmful and hateful and disgusting. I did this and I need to make it right. It takes a lot of bravery to do that. And I wonder if Pippa will come out and say something about this. I doubt it though. I doubt it. So I just kind of want to, like I said, I talk off the top of my dome and I yap. Yes, I yap. I always yap. But the moral of the it's all off the top of my head. So it's always going to have little flubs and shit like that, because I want to bring my real self out there, So that's pretty much it. So yeah. So Pippa, is this the legacy you want to leave behind? Is this how you want your image to be? Is this image something you want to be tied to for like the rest of your VTubing career? Or do you want to be better than that? Only time will tell, I guess. But hey, this has been Blues with Saturn Blues Gaming. And I should react to the Twisty Delulu shit, but there's so much I have to go through and I just don't have the time. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, see you later.